Okay, now this is going to be your part 2. We're going to continue doing the same thing that we just did. Now it looks a little bit different just because it has words. So we're going to go over a few things with that. So a pool table is 8 feet long and 4 feet wide. How far is it from one pocket at the diagonally opposite corner of the pocket? Okay, so this right here is your keyword. We talked about that yesterday. That represents your hypothenuse, which is the letter C. So I'm going to go ahead and label that. They're talking about a pool table. A pool table is a rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. And so they're saying that it is 8 feet by 4. So I'm going to write 4 feet by 8 feet. And your diagonal is going to be from one corner to the other. And that's what they're asking for. Hey, what is your diagonal? So this makes your little right angle. And then there's going to be your hypothenuse. I'm just going to label this A and B. And again, like we talked about yesterday, it doesn't matter as long as you don't confuse that letter C, which is the diagonal across from your 90 degrees. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, now on this one, I'm going to show you just how you can put the whole thing in Desmos in just a second. All right, so one of the legs is going to be 4 squared. That's the length. The other leg is 8 squared. And then I'm looking for my C. Okay, so now when you get to this part, you can do it like we did yesterday, 4 times 4 and 8 times 8. Or you can just put it just like this in your Desmos. So I'm going to go to my Desmos, and I'm just going to put it just like I see it. I'm going to put 4 squared plus 8 squared, and that's going to give me 80. So the areas of the two smaller sides is going to be 80, and that's going to give me my C squared. Remember, like I talked a minute ago, this represents the area, not the length, and they're looking just for the length, which is the diagonal. So in order to just find your C, you have to find the opposite, which is finding the square root of 80. Okay, so we're going to go to Desmos, and we're going to put in the square root of 80. So square root of 80, which is 8.944. 8.944. Again, on the questions you're going to have to do on your own, you have to round to the nearest 10th. Let me make sure I'm doing that right. Yep, nearest 10th. And that's going to be the first number after the decimal. So you look at your neighbor, which is the 4, and you're going to see if this number is 5 or larger to bump it up. It's not, so then my answer is just going to be 8.9 feet is going to represent my diagonal, and then I am done. Again, you can check your work to see if the hypotenuse is larger than the legs, which in this case it is. 8.9 is larger than 8 and 4, so that means you did it correct. All right, let's do one more together, and then you're going to do the last where it says not you try on your own. Okay, now we're talking about a ladder. A ladder is leaning against a wall. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my wall. Okay, this is a wall. I'm going to label it my wall. And there's a ladder that is leaning against it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my little ladder. Okay, now they're saying, hey, the bottom of the ladder is 8 feet away from the base. So they're saying that from here to here is 8 feet. And then they're saying that the wall is 7 feet tall. 17, I'm sorry. So I'm going to write 17 here. Okay, so now that means that this is going to represent my right angle, and the ladder is going to represent the C. So I'm going to go ahead and write down my formula. And then plug in my lengths, which is 8 squared plus 17 squared is going to give me that C squared. Okay, like I showed you earlier, I'm going to put all of this in Desmos and see what I get, which is going to be 8 squared plus 17 squared. Oops, it's 353. And then that represents your area again. So we have to undo it by finding the square root of 353 to find your C. So I'm going to go back to Desmos and put the square root of 353. And I'm going to write this number, 18.78. 18.78 8. Okay, I want to go over this part just so we can talk about how to round this one. This is your tenths place. So again, I'm looking at my little neighbor, and this number is larger than 5. It's 8 or larger, so I'm going to have to write down 18.8 feet. That's going to represent my diagonal for question 4. Okay, now I need you to complete the rest of these on your Google Classroom. And make sure that you show me all your steps and you label and draw your pictures. Thank you.